Hey everyone, it's DJ Kalicha Kid here, and you're tuned into RGV Community Health Hour on Vaquero Radio, the Valley Student Station. Sorry for starting a little bit late today. We had some technical difficulties, but those are all taken care of. So, yeah, thanks for tuning in. On today's show, there was a bit of a guest change. I had, two weeks ago, because I didn't have a guest, I talked about the following guests I was planning on having on the show. And unfortunately, one of the scientists on Dr. Maestra's team wasn't able to make it because, like always, they're very busy and doing amazing things. So thankfully, I have Millat, Jahan, right? Jahan?
Yes.
Here today. She is a third-year student in our PhD in Human Genetics program. So, Millat, thank you for being here.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Yeah, so if you don't mind telling us a little bit about yourself, your educational background, or where you grew up, where you're from, educational
sure.
background.
So, I am originally from Bangladesh, and it's a small country in Asia, just next to India. People know India a lot, but not many people know about Bangladesh, I guess. But still, so I grew up in Bangladesh, and I was born in the capital city Dhaka, but I grew up in the city that's my hometown called Khulna. It's a beautiful city with not so much people around there. The nature is really beautiful in Bangladesh.
Wow.
And so I got to US in 2021 fall August because I wanted to join the master's program here.
Okay.
Before that, my background was actually really different than what I'm studying right now. So after I finished my school in Bangladesh, the educational system is like you have to go through competitive exams to get into the universities.
Mm-hmm.
And there the system is like the public universities are actually more, how would I say, like people give it more importance because it's government funded.
Okay.
So you pay very little amount of money, but still the value or the degree that you get that gets into jobs are very higher. So that's why everybody competes for those public universities.
Okay.
So I was very fortunate to ace one of those exams and get into a renowned public school university, and that's called Khulna University. But there are a few options where you get to choose where do you want to go. So first of all, my choice was to go towards biotechnology.
Okay.
That's the subject.
Mm-hmm.
But due to the score I got on the exam, I got agrotechnology. Agrotechnology is going to be a degree that's going to give me majoring in agriculture.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, that was not the subject I was looking for.
So it didn't interest you so
but
much?
It did not. But I learned a lot of it because many things, when you talk about genetics, it's actually a lot. There are a lot of common things in plants and humans because it comes to the DNA, chromosomes, or anything. So it was okay. I accepted my fate and I went for it, and I finished with a pretty decent GPA. But then I was not happy with what I got. And then COVID hit in 2019 and everything got slowed down. I lost almost 1 year in between. I was going to come and join UTRGV. My admission was for 2020 fall for the biology. And I was going to be in the Dr. Megan Kennery's lab. She's one of the famous.
Yeah, she's been on the show before.
Yeah, that's amazing. And well, I love her. She's an angel.
Yeah, no, she's awesome. She really is.
Yeah,
awesome.
so I was I was gonna join in 2020, but then for COVID, I didn't get visa, and I had to wait a whole year, and then finally I came here in 2021 fall, and joined Dr. Kennery's lab and did my master's. What I really wanted to do is actually know about like human biology and everything, not plants. So I was really happy when I got into the program at UTRGV for my master's. And there I had like really good experience for 2 years of master's, and then I transitioned into human genetics. That was one of the subjects I really admired. Cool. So that's it.
So how did you find Dr. Kennery's lab? Was it just you did your own research and looked at the different departments at the university?
Well, at the beginning, I wasn't sure that I was gonna go to the lab, but my brother, he actually did his master's from UTRGV,
Oh wow.
and before I got here, he was here, and
Oh, that's
he
cool.
had a very small opportunity to work with Dr. Kinnery,
Mhm.
even if his background was in chemistry.
Okay.
But he had a little something project with her, and when he worked with her, he was like really surprised, like how supportive and understanding she is. And he was like, you know what, you should like email her, and I can also tell her that you were very interested to join her lab because her background and her research experience is like top notch.
Mm-hmm.
So I did approach her, and at that time she didn't have a space in her lab to take me because I'm an international student and I had different requirements.
Yeah.
But I don't know what happened. She changed her mind, and she a month later again got back to me and like, hey, you know, I think I can take you as my student. So I almost lost hope that she was gonna take me, but some miracle happened, and then she took me as a student.
So you did your master's
Yes.
in her
Yeah.
lab? Wow.
Yeah.
Cool. So in that year, because of COVID, did you do any, like, did you try to find a job for the meantime, or just, you know, volunteer in
I
someone's lab or
actually
anything?
was getting really frustrated because I didn't want to waste any time.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did is in my Kunlun University where I did my undergrad, temporarily I joined the online master's program there.
Okay.
That, by the way, I couldn't finish because
yes.
before that
Mhm.
I got accepted here and I got here. So that was the brief point where I was choosing a subject called horticulture. It's like horticulture. It's about something like how you do the landscaping with the
Okay.
plants
Okay.
and something like that. So I got to learn a little bit about it during that time, and that's it. So I was just doing online classes, being at home.
Well, it's really interesting because when I got out of the military, I love plants, and it's kind of funny
Oh, well, me
because
too.
yeah. So I grew up on a 100-acre ranch, and I just, you know, grew up around nature, and so I just kind of
That's amazing.
loved plants. And so when I got out of the military, I started going to school for botany. You know, the degree
Mhm.
plan was a botany degree
Yeah.
plan, and but when I moved back to Texas, I got my undergrad at Texas A&M Kingsville, and they didn't have a botany curriculum or you know, like degree plan. And so I'm like, oh man, what should I do? So the way I thought about it was like everything that plants do is based on chemistry. So I was like, oh, I'll just become a chemistry major. And so that's how I but I kind of find it kind of funny that you know, essentially studied plants for your undergrad. And
I know.
and Dr. Kumar, it was kind of the same with Dr. Kumar. Dr. Kumar, I think he was a botany major for his bachelor's.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And he always says that he wishes he could still do research on plants because, you know, you can do any kind of insane things to plants.
I know.
Yeah, there's
you're
no
right.
no IACUC or no IRB needed for plants. So sometimes
Yeah,
he says
that's for sure.
he wishes that he stayed doing the research with plants.
Mhm.
So yeah, so you did your master's with Dr. Kinnery and then just immediately joined our program? Or,
Yeah, immediately. Well, I graduated in summer in 2023,
And then-
and I joined here in fall
okay.
in 2023 for the. I didn't want to waste any time.
Yeah, no.
So,
That's,
well, but I was really confused that I'm not confused. I wasn't actually sure that I was gonna get in the program because I heard that they only take 7 students,
Mhm.
and I was like, I don't know if my chances are very low or what.
And so you got your master's in Dr. Kinnery, but what is the master's in exactly? Is it just
It's majoring in biology,
okay?
and my thesis work focused on FOXO4 transcription factor. I was looking for the localization and function of FOXO4. It's a major FOXO-protein that actually regulates a lot of important function in cancer cells.
Okay.
So I was focusing on glioblastoma multiforme, that's aggressive brain cancer.
Wow.
So we were trying to look at the transcription factor 4 of FOXO, so that and did a little bit of good research on it. Well, it was not I didn't have a publication out of it because of the time restraints.
Yeah, it is very.
Because I needed a little longer time to establish some mechanism for my paper that we couldn't because I was already accepted in this program.
Okay.
But I actually got a little bit of preliminary data coming on, like how it was always we could find the FOXO4 localized in nucleus, and well, there are a lot of pathways involved. I don't want to talk about it right now. Yeah, but it was really interesting.
Cool.
To work with her.
And so, did you do a lot of cell culture work in her lab, or like what was the majority of your?
A lot of things actually we did, but cell culture was one of them.
Okay.
But mostly we actually would look at the gene expressions. So most of the time we did PCRs.
Oh, okay.
And to look at the expressions of the proteins, I did a lot of Western blotting. And and also my major work was focused on confocal microscopy, where we will stain the proteins and we would try to look inside, either if it's localized in the cytoplasm of a cell or in the nucleus. So the confocal microscopy was one of the major part of my thesis as well.
Okay, cool. Well, I think this is a good stopping point, so stay tuned, everyone. We're going to take a quick music break, and we'll be right back. Thanks. All right, everyone, and we're back. Thanks for staying tuned. And just a quick reminder, the views expressed on RGV Community Health Hour are for informational purposes only and do not constitute medical advice. Be sure to consult your primary care provider for all your healthcare needs. So I'm back again with Millat, talking about, her educational journey and coming to UTRGV. And so you're doing the cancer research with Dr. Kinnery.
Yeah, in my master's.
Yeah. So are you following up any of that work? Are you kind of staying in that same, because of course, or I mean, if you want to explain a little bit, if you're choosing to do something similar for your PhD work as you did in your master's, or is it related at all?
I actually could not continue what I was doing. So unfortunately, that work I had to leave behind.
Okay.
Because here I tried quite a bit different labs in my human genetics program, and at the end, Dr. Jahan is my mentor right now.
Oh, okay.
So, and we have decided we are going to work with microplastics, because that's like a very important topic going on right now.
Okay, so similar to Natasha, huh?
Yeah, it's kind of similar. She's focusing on phthalates, but
okay.
I'm going to focus on bisphenols.
Okay.
So bisphenols are endocrine disrupting factors. Like those are microplastic, but they have a really bad effect on our metabolism.
Wow.
And there are several studies happened on bisphenol, where people actually tested bisphenol levels in serum, plasma. They also looked at it in urine, that's very common, and also in breast milk. And surprisingly, they found significant amount of the traces of bisphenols and everything.
Yeah. Because
bisphenols, I'm just drinking water in the plastic bottle, bisphenols are there. Even if they say that BPA free,
yeah.
But you gotta know that bisphenols, it's not only BPA. There are several other compounds related to bisphenols. Those are like BPB, E, F, BPS. So, and all of them has this functional group. Like bisphenol F has a functional group of fluorine, and also bisphenol S has the sulfur. And this functional group has, how do I say that, effect to stay in your body. They get attached to your bloods, and they do not metabolize by your liver well. And so it can stay in our body up to years and years.
Wow. Before
our body is finally able to secrete it, or maybe take care of it. I don't know how to explain.
Yeah, no, that's right.
So because this is an issue, so we thought of, why not we do a longitudinal study on it? Because the studies they do is they look at the real-time effect. But we, in our program in human genetics, we have a biorepository where we have samples from people we're following along for 30 years. So I had a chance to do a longitudinal study where I can actually compare the same people's samples, blood samples, either it's serum or plasma, and I can look the effects of bisphenols on them
Over time.
over time.
Yeah.
So I'm doing like with 10-year apart study. So it's
Cool.
going to give us a huge data set where we can actually look at the trend, like how much more it got worse or better within the 10 years.
Wow.
And I'm going to tie it to the metabolic disorders, type 2 diabetes relating to that, and also cardiovascular disease and obesity. These are the three main focus area I have to look at the effects of these bisphenols
Okay.
on and tying into them and looking at the genetical predisposition of this.
Wow. So how many individuals are you planning on using for the study, right? Because I mean, there's
Yeah,
lots of
so
samples we can pull from that biobank.
of course we need a good amount of samples, and thankfully we have a lot. So I have, I think I'm going to work with 500 individual.
Okay.
So 500
Wow.
individual from their visit 1 to visit 3, 10 years apart.
Okay. Wow. And you are focusing, you said, on the serum or plasma,
It's
right?
going to be mostly serum.
Okay. And yeah, I mean, you were there last Friday at the Center for Genome Research Symposium, and
Yeah.
that talk on breast milk was really fascinating. Like
Yeah,
Dr.
right.
Bala's talk was really cool. Dr. Bala has also been a guest on the show, and he gave a really interesting talk about, analyzing breast milk and finding, microplastics and pesticides.
God
and
knows what else. Yeah.
all the terrible stuff we're exposed to. And so, so that's what you're spending a lot of your days doing right now, is just
Yeah.
prepping those samples for analysis, or have you started?
I actually started, so before even I jump into this, I needed a good methodology to go ahead with, because this is the first time we're using the samples with the longitudinal study, and some of the elements are not so much studied. Like I'm looking at 6 different compounds of BPA, not bisphenols, not only BPA. I'm also looking at BPB, BPE, BPF, and BPS and M. So these are all 6 compounds. I'm looking at it. So I had to run, it's called liquid chromatography, mass spectrometry, LCMS. I have to run, I had to run the standards of this bisphenol samples through the machine, so that I could create a methodology for myself, so that and later on we can use the serum samples, spike them with bisphenols, and look at the recovery. And there's like a lot of process involved in it before even you jump into your main work.
Yeah, for sure.
So developing methodology actually took me almost 3 months.
Wow.
Or more than 3 months actually. I've been trying. And finally we have a good method, and
Can see signal and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
Because I know that was Marco's big struggle for a long time, and
yeah,
trying
that's
to
your main challenge.
yeah.
Because in the literatures you will be able to find suggestions what other people did, but for it's actually different for each machine.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You cannot know like what other people used and what I am using. It's so much struggle at the beginning, but it's about PhD. That's what it is.
Yeah, that's what I told Dr. Vandenberg. I think it was the end of the fall, the end of last year. I was just so physically and mentally burnt out. And I still am, of course, because I'm not done yet. But but I told Dr. Vandenberg, I was like, man, I'm just so burnt, Dr. Vandenberg. But I feel like that's kind of what you sign up for when you do a PhD, right? Like,
yeah,
if you're getting to the point where you're close to graduating, and if you're not feeling physically and mentally burnt out, well, then you're probably doing something wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a little bit of self-torture.
Yeah, and the first 2 years we were not focusing that much on research.
Yeah.
So from the 3rd year when it started, everything got on like, you have to be serious now.
Yeah. Well, for me too, my background, as I've mentioned on the show before, I did my undergrad in chemistry and chemical engineering, and I did a master's in entrepreneurship and business school. And so, I had no background really in biology or genetics, and so those first 2 years were kind of rough for me, because I'm like, alleles, what are alleles? Like, what is all this? Yeah, like Dr. Curran, when she would teach us the molecular genetics class, like 80% of it was over my head because I was like, of course I know what DNA is and chromosomes, but that's like basic high school level.
Yeah. Well, that's what I like about this program. Like they just don't want anyone who has a strong background in genetics and everything. They give chances to everyone. So if by any chance anybody wants to explore and learn something new, this program actually gave me, like, I don't have a background either. My undergrad is in agriculture. I had a little bit of background in biology because I did my master's,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
even then I had to really struggle to get onto it.
Yeah, because it goes fast, those 2
I
years
know,
especially.
and being an international student, like 1,000 things in my mind, so it was really hard to transition, but Dr. Kennery's lab made it really easy because she's always there. She's the nicest mentor. She always guides you and tells you to do everything. So I got to learn so much, and that actually developed me as I would say, she's the one who motivated me to become a researcher more.
Okay.
And I decided, okay, I can go for a PhD now. I think I have done quite a bit of research on this thing that I know I can do good in lab.
Yeah, no, it's always great having mentors like that, of course, that are going to help guide you and really teach you how to be a scientist. I always mention on my show, Dr. Jahan, I did chemistry, as an undergrad. I did 3 years of research in her lab, and that's where I really learned how to be a scientist because, you do your general labs, you sign up for general chemistry and you do your gen chem lab, or you do your organic chemistry, you do your organic chemistry lab. But those labs are very cookie cutter. They're set up for you to succeed. You know the exact reactions that are going to happen and the products you should be getting from the reaction. But when you work in a real research lab, like it's actual like research. You're going to try something and it's probably not going to work. And then you have your lab meeting and you talk about it and you go back to it. So yeah, that's where
It's always trial and error.
Yeah, so after you get the real skills in terms of learning how to do proper research, and that's what I always try to tell students, like if you can volunteer in a lab, that really benefits you a lot further than getting straight A's. Of course you want good grades as well, but you're going to get more benefit out of maybe dropping an A and getting a B, but spending more time in a real research lab and getting that real life experience. All right, everyone, so we're going to take another quick music break and we'll be right back, so stay tuned. All right, everyone, and we're back. So Millat, I was just wondering what your plans are. You're closer than most to graduating, the third year. I'm a fourth year, so are you planning on staying in academia? Do you have industry in mind, or?
I do have industry in mind. I don't want to go towards academia because I don't know how much I can take. It looks like it's a lot, and it also depends because my husband David is also in the same program, and he's going to graduate before me. So I'm also
shout out David, he's my classmate.
Yeah. So because he's going to graduate before me, I'm gonna see that where he goes, so that we can plan our life accordingly. And so I don't have anything in mind right now. I'm just going with the flow, trusting everything.
Yeah, let everything run its course. Yeah, I kind of felt the same, or I was really interested in staying in academia, but then, that was prior to spending as much time as I have in academia over the last 4 years and seeing kind of the struggles of trying to write grants and hoping that hoping you get reviewers that understand and can be awarded the grants.
Yeah.
So it's just like, man, I don't know if I want to live that life. Bless them for all they do. Our department PIs, because obviously they could work in academia and probably make fivefold what they make here, but they have amazing work that they do and the impact that they have on the science. And
exactly.
So yeah, I don't know, is there any certain you mentioned academia, is there like pharmaceutical or
no, I was thinking about industry work
okay.
to go for, but I'm not sure yet. Or I was even thinking about going towards genetic counseling. That's like a whole different section.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, actually, I looked that up a few years back. I was hoping to you know, because you really just have to take a test to become a genetic counselor. Of course, you have to go through the
But
curriculum.
it's actually a master's program.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
one thing I learned. In
You
that.
have to go through and do a master's program, and then you get a certification from American Board, and then you can practice.
Yeah, but it's you have to even get that master's at accredited.
Accredited, I looked it up.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to do that because I think that way we could use our knowledge of genetics to actually help people out, because I have always wanted to actually interact with people and help them out. Once at a time, I even thought of joining medical school, but I know that's a lot harder than everything. So, but still, I would like to do that if it's possible. That's one of the.
Or what, medical school? Or
No, the genetic counseling
okay.
thing. I know I already have a PhD. Doing another master's might not be so much like everybody.
Benefit?
Yeah, I don't know if it's gonna be beneficial, but still, I want to give it a try. But yeah, then again, I said everything depends on David. Let's see what he does, and then I'll decide.
Yeah, no, you know, with working with the lab possums over the last 2.5 years or so, we do surgeries. We do an embryo transfer surgery for our gene knockout project, and it's the first time I saw them do the surgery. I was like, wow, this is so cool, like doing surgery. And so it really inspired me to want to go to medical school. But I'm like, man, I'm already 40 years old. I feel like I've been in school 15 years since I got out of the military, you know, in 2010. So I'm like, man, I should probably do some kind of real work at this point. Enough being a student.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things where like, man, it would be so cool to go to medical school, go through that rigor, do a residency, learn how to be a surgeon, and do surgery to people, you know, not just animals.
Yeah,
So,
right.
yeah, you know, of course, it helps change people's lives, you know, being able to successfully operate on them.
There are many
make
people
them
who
feel better.
actually shifts their career in the middle of life, but
Yeah, I'm not writing it off, of course. You know, it might be 5-10 years from now before I decide to go back to school or to go to medical school. But, you know,
Right.
we'll see what happens. Like you say, just kind of go with the flow and see where
Yeah.
things turn up, you know.
I am like that. Just go with the flow. I don't think about future too much. I know that's not healthy. Don't do it, guys. Think about your future.
Yeah, well, actually, the same for me, you know, especially for me being so close to graduating. I'm like, postdoc or industry, academia. I really want to work for NASA, so I was like, man, try to fight tooth and nail to try to get an opportunity at NASA. But yeah, you know, just I always feel like you're gonna end up, as long as you don't stop trying and you follow your passion, you're gonna end up where you're supposed to be.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it was like for me, before I joined the program, I worked at University of Washington Virology, and like I said, I had no background in genetics or virology or biochemistry or any of that stuff. So it was kind of crazy how I ended up in that opportunity. But they, I literally told my boss, who, when I was interviewing with her, I was like, look, I know I have no background in any of this, but just please give me an opportunity. I'll work nights, I'll work weekends, part-time, full-time, just please give me an opportunity, because it was like my first real job after getting my bachelor's degree.
Uh-huh.
And so, yeah, I was just trying to get some kind of real life experience in terms of having a scientific job or a job as a scientist.
Yeah.
And so I literally begged her for the job. I was like, please, like, I'll work hard, I learn fast. And yeah, it worked out really well. And I ended up working on the next generation sequencing team during COVID, and we sequenced thousands of samples of COVID every week. It was a really cool opportunity. And so, yeah, I mean, I guess for you, best case scenario, I know you say you don't think about it too much, but like I said, for me, working at NASA would be my dream job. Do you have some place that would be kind of your dream?
Well, I wanted to be a doctor back when in Bangladesh, when I was getting ready for public school, but the circumstances were not like with me to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I'm also getting older, I think when I'm like 28, so I don't think it's a good time to go back to medical school, but I really want to use my human genetics PhD degree to do something better. And I think one of the way to do something good is going towards genetic counseling,
Mm-hmm.
so that I can help many people
Mm-hmm.
closely with my knowledge. That's why probably I will consider later on to have that set another master's degree and go for it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's like I always tell people about Dr. Winkler. He's got like 6 degrees.
I know.
He's so smart and he knows so much and he's so awesome. But yeah, so we should never let our age be
Yes.
What's the word I'm looking for? A limiting factor, I guess you could say.
Yeah, exactly.
But like I said, at some point, really ever since I got out of the military in 2010, that year and a half I spent at virology is the only time I've had a full-time job in 15 years. And so, yeah, I mean, of course I did, temp jobs here and there, which is actually how I ended up in that position. And I was a small business owner, of course, trying to, create supplemental income for myself. But yeah, I think that's the problem sometimes with being, everyone should be a lifelong learner. You should always strive to keep learning and improving your professional and personal development. But, like I said, at some point, being a student and getting all the degrees isn't enough. You actually need that experience.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, is the research you wanted to do with the bisphenols, is that, you mentioned it's a longitudinal study, and I was just curious, is Natasha's, for her, the phthalates, is that planning on being a longitudinal study as well, do you know, or?
I think so. I'm not completely sure, but I know a lot of the methodologies for her and mine the same.
Mm-hmm.
But I think her focus transitions into a different sector, however I am doing. So I'm not completely sure, but it's more or less similar.
And for your study, is there a certain age range you're looking at? I know you said it's over 10 years, right? 3 samples over 10 years, but...
So the family we're studying right now, it's actually, most of them belong from San Antonio.
Okay.
And they are from the same family and they're extended.
Mm-hmm.
So the age range is from 35 to 60 in between.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah. So I hope this study, if it actually is applicable and we get some significant result out of it, and looking at the trend, and we probably will be able to create an awareness and so that people, so I'm telling you that the girls, we like to use makeups, and most of our products are like, you'll find microplastics in it.
Yeah.
The lipstick I'm wearing right now might have like so many microplastic in it I don't even know. And like we go to grocery shopping, those thermal receipts, they're dangerous for us.
Yeah.
Like these are very little things. Like we know that bad effects of it, but we really don't act on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I myself know that my bottle probably carries plastic, but still I'm buying it because I need to drink purified water. I cannot just rely on tap water.
Yeah, exactly. And
so
end up with a lot worse. And then the tap water probably has microplastics on some level too. So
it's like we want to do good, but then there are so many limiting factors. So I really want my thesis work to actually reflect something and mean something to the society to bring awareness. Well, that's what we are all working on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually have a friend, you mentioned the receipts. I have a friend who works here in Brownsville, and he works at a restaurant, and I've seen him so many times. He's kind of in a rush and he's doing a lot of things. He'll kind of hold the receipt in his mouth.
Oh, that's worse.
Yes, and I told him, I was like, look, man, I'm gonna tell you this once because I don't want to be like that guy, that like gonna shake him and like, just stop doing that, So I was like, I'm only gonna say this to you once, and you take it with a grain of salt. You believe me, you don't believe me, whatever. And I'm sure it's just a habit that you've ingrained at this point, so it might be hard to break. But I was like, man, that's really bad for you. You shouldn't do that.
Yeah. And the plastic containers we use is like very famous. People heat up food in the microwave. Those are dangerous.
Yeah. Actually, I was meeting with an undergrad earlier this year, Rosa, and because she was interested in participating in the business competition at the university, and I participated and I got second place like 2 years ago now. And so another acquaintance of mine at the university connected us because she was looking for somebody to partner with. So I met with her a few times, and she's really interested in environmental awareness and things like we're talking about essentially. And yeah, I was just I felt like I scared her a little bit. It's like, yeah, you shouldn't microwave plastics, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. She was like, oh wow, I didn't know that. No. And she was just like, oh my gosh, like I microwave plastics all the time. And it's like,
we all did it at some point,
Yeah.
but since we learned about it, now at my home I only use glass things to heat up products. Then I might transfer it to something like bowl.
Yeah, exactly.
But I always heat up using
Something-
that's what something is awareness about. There is social media and there's so much things people share good things on it too.
Yeah.
So we can actually try to do those small little things for ourselves.
Yeah, no doubt. And unfortunately, it's like the more, I always kind of had these funny conversations with, of course, with other scientists that I know, and it's like, man, it's kind of a nightmare out there, in terms of all the, the terrible air we breathe, the terrible water we drink, the microplastics, the forever chemicals, the PFAS or PFAS.
Well, at this point, people are alive. That suffices.
Yeah, seriously. But that's why that's why fertility is going down.
I know.
It's like so
our
many.
body is going through a lot.
Yeah, and there's a lot of people ending up with cancers at much younger ages these days, and
well, mostly people in the valley that we mostly focus on this program, like type 2 diabetes, obesity. These are all like once somebody has diabetes, that actually is responsible for all the other things. So we never know what is creating this diabetes, because if you look at the heritability, it's not like maybe 80% heritable through genetics, but the rest is from environmental effects. You don't even know what's causing it, and your diet, the exposures we are getting, everything has a effect on everything. So we better start living a healthy life, and all we can do is like exercise a lot and try to eat healthy food. That's it.
Yeah, that's what I tell people. What I try to tell people is like you have to try to kill yourself, and because if not, the universe is gonna kill you on its terms, right? You should try to kill yourself, whether it's exercise, fasting, cold exposure, or sauna, like hot exposure. You need to stress your body on your terms, because if not, the universe is going to stress your body on its terms, and it's going to make you sicker faster, and it's not going to end up well. All right, everyone, so we're going to take our final music break, and we'll be right back. All right, everyone, and we're back for the final segment, just a couple of minutes left. So just want to say thank you, Millat, for being the guest today. I really appreciate you
thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course. So as always, with the final few minutes of the show, I like to give the guest the mic in terms of, any advice you have, words of wisdom, or, anything you want to share, feel free to take it away if there's something you...
Yeah, well, that's what I was going to say, because my research is about microplastics. I think that's the message I want to give everyone, that if you really want to not do something that microplastic does not affect your life, just drink from glass bottle, or you can use your fancy Stanley cups. And,
or like liquid death, right?
Don't
Liquid
heat
death
up,
comes in the cans,
Just avoid canned products, and
'cause it has
be
a
very
decay.
cautious about microwaving food in plastic. Just use a glass container. It's also good quality wise. And do a lot of exercise. I love to go to gym, like weightlifting. So I'm just gonna say that that's how you said, like you stress your body first before the universe stresses you. So just do a lot of exercise to keep yourself healthy, and I think everything will be okay.
Yeah. Just try to limit those exposures, because it's just exposure over time is what breaks us down, and so
Exactly.
You got to do your best to avoid unnecessary exposure, because we're going to be exposed no matter what we do. We can't control what's in the air. So you just got to do your best to to educate yourself, to share information that is reliable.
Yeah, right.
And so again, thank you, Millat. I really appreciate you coming on. Appreciate your time and
Thank
sharing
you,
your
everyone.
story. That's it, everyone. Next week, I hope to have some the guest I had originally talked about a couple of weeks ago from, now it's slipping me, the name of their organization. I feel so terrible. But yeah, so stay tuned, and you'll see next week where they're from.
Okay, bye.
So yeah, thank you everyone. This is DJ Caliche Kid here to remind you to stay curious